Based on my limited knowledge of Chris, I find it hard to believe he's concerned about Palestinian existence.
I feel like this is one of those moments where you should have a little more than a limited knowledge of somebody.
British society enjoy the killing of people that they deem as others.
Imagine feeling so guilty that you have to dedicate your entire career to proving you're not one of those white British people.
I don't think that's a reasonable criticism. This video is just missing the mark for me.
Chris Kunzler is actually really boring, and I couldn't make it through a single 3-hour video.
Probably not the best person to make a video about Chris Kunzler then.
Hey, look at me. I absolutely don't hate other groups of people in it.
Yeah, that's the whole point of talking about Israel. I hate the state of Israel because it's a genocidal entity.
He thinks the actual state of Israel is completely unjustifiable. I don't think that that's the case.
This is a funny tweet. Tel Aviv being bombed. Everyone liked that. What is wrong with that?
Well, that's not good. If anything, that's where all the opposition to the Israeli government's coming from. Why would you be okay with that?
Doesn't matter if it's happened on October 7th.
This is a completely reasonable take.
It's not a reasonable take at all. How is that going to sound to people? It sounds to people like he doesn't care if Jewish people were. He doesn't care at all. Chris Kunzler's reaction to the video is more damning than the video itself. All right. Listen, guys. Somebody made a Chris Kunzler. I guess he called it a deranged hit piece. We might watch his reaction to it after we watch the actual video. This is Chris Kunzler. He's the Ethan Klein guy. You know? And apparently Ethan Klein is terrified of him. So... I'm curious, man. This is a premium slot. Let's check it out, bro. This is the first one's by Princess Mantis. Wow, that is such a beautiful thing. That's so beautiful. We love that. There we go. Wow. Wow. Okay. What is this, dude? What community am I in? What is wrong, bro? What the fuck? Okay. Incredible. Who the hell are these people? Was that? Oh, I think that was a niece. Oh, okay. Is that Nicholas Diorio? I don't know who that is. Or that. Or that. That's AB. That's oh, is this Harvey Weinstein? No. Harley. This is Epic Meat Time. Right? Who the fuck is this? What the fuck is happening here? What is happening here? Oh, wow, that's incredible. Oh, this is iDubbbz, I think, and that's Anissa. Okay, got it. Oh, there's Hassan Parker. We love it. We love it so much. Hey, listen. See? Jesus is white, guys. I'm just kidding. Incredible.
For the past 2 years, the internet has been fighting an underground holy war.
Whoa.
In a turn of geopolitical events no one saw
It's a little more than underground, but I hear what you're saying, girly pop.
coming, YouTube's best and brightest flung themselves into a centuries-long battle that most of them were absolutely not equipped to handle.
Probably.
To truly understand why research experts such as British supremacist influencer Chris Kunzler
Chris, respectfully.
Okay.
could become
What the fuck is
entangled
happening?
in commentary by Singaporean SpongeBob fish turned brown guy Pegasus.
What does that mean, dude? I don't even understand what that means. What does those words mean? Is that racist?
Go back to a series so volcanic. Even Typhlosion subscribed in today's video.
Wow, incredible.
We need to go back in time. And I just want to note here that although there is nowhere on the internet to support Chris's last name being Kunzler, he sure gluzzes a bunch of cum, which
Got him.
I think is
interesting.
So today I want
That was funny.
to be talking to you about the whitest British man alive, Chris Kunzler.
I'm feeling attacked, dude. I'm feeling attacked, okay? White is beautiful, just like, and so is brown, and every color is beautiful. I like it a lot, okay?
And I can say that because I'm half white. And
Okay.
based on my limited knowledge of Chris and his interview with...
I feel like this is one of those moments where you probably should have a little more than a limited knowledge of somebody, but...
Quam, check out my last video on how she single-handedly freed Gaza here. I find it hard to believe
That's true. That's a fact, guys.
he's concerned about Palestinian existence at all. As I mostly saw Chris spew anti-Semitic tropes under the guise of, well, I actually just think it's fun for him. So I decided to dig into his limited presence. Now, before I give my thoughts and opinions, I think
Is it racist to mention someone's brown? Well, I think it's the it felt a little antagonistic. That's all I was saying.
it's essential to note that Chris is British. And I can say that because I'm half British. Why
Is this going to be a meme that she's just going to keep saying she's half of something?
is this important? I'll try to keep the next part as short as possible.
Okay. All right.
That you have to appreciate that many people in American and British society
Yeah.
enjoy the killing of people that they deem as others.
I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe. That might be true. I don't know if that's American exclusive. Do we enjoy that? I don't know if we enjoy that much. I feel like that might be not true.
After World War I, Britain started babysitting the most contentious site on the planet. Anyways, it didn't go well. I just wanted to remind ourselves that Britain has also committed its fair amount of war crimes and atrocities.
Well, I think that's what he just said, though, right? Didn't he just bring up it was both Britain and America? No?
Enjoy the kit that many people in American and British society.
Yeah.
Planet. Anyways, it didn't go well. I just wanted to remind ourselves that Britain has also committed its fair amount of war crimes and atrocities. God forbid the world ever chant for Britain's destruction, because that would just be, I don't know, kind of crazy. I just want to iterate. Criticizing the state of Israel is not in and of itself anti-Semitic. And I don't think that all pro-Palestine creators are anti-Semitic. However, I'm just
It is not going to be good.
gonna let Chris's content speak for itself.
Bro, go up here.
Chris's first tweet was on December 10th, 2024, in which he commented on the UK's relationship with the United Arab Emirates and its hands in the genocide happening in Sudan, but also, for some reason, Israel. And that is something you'll notice about his content. Even though I think it's a really important thing that people do talk about the genocide that's been happening in Sudan since 2003, in which 300,000 people have been slaughtered, it's just not realistic to blame Israel for absolutely everything wrong in your life, Chris. I know that you pooped your pants, but...
What did he even say? More people need to start talking about Emirati influence over the UK. We can only be concerned with Israel. We can't only be concerned with Israel. This is a country facilitating genocide in Sudan right now, spreading authoritarian brutality, and also serving Israel's interests. I think that generally speaking, this is Chris saying we can't, Israel is a problem, and so is the UAE. I think that's the whole point that he's making here. I mean, the last line is a little strange, spreading authoritarian brutality and all. So more people need to start talking about Emirati. That's the UAE, right? Or is it? Am I saying you? Was it right? United Arab, Emirates, yeah. The United Arab Emirates. Okay, so what he's saying is more people need to start talking about the UAE's influence over the UK. We can't only be concerned with Israel. This is a country facilitating genocide in Sudan right now, spreading authoritarian brutality, and also serving Israel's interests. So I guess he's saying that the UAE is also helping Israel. I don't know how that would be possible, but okay.
For absolutely everything wrong in your life, Chris.
I don't necessarily think he's blaming Israel.
I know that you pooped your pants, but also not Israel. So anyways, I found his public LinkedIn page, which details his skills in German and Farsi.
All right, we do love German.
As well as his degrees from Exeter University in Near and Middle Eastern Studies. Now, there could only be one reason for this LinkedIn page, because also it has 0 other details, and that's to try and bolster his credentials for when people come running to claim he has no idea what he's actually talking about.
Well, I assumed it had to do with him wanting to do a job or something. I figured it was like, oh, these are his credentials, you know?
In my opinion. But it's clear from watching Chris's content that he does have a fair bit of knowledge regarding certain geopolitical events in the Middle East.
He probably does. A lot of young people are very smart. They're getting smarter every day, dude. They're getting smarter every day, baby.
However, Chris hasn't really tried to hide the comparison that he makes between Jewish people and Nazis.
Okay.
He's
What
also
the fuck is all this shit?
comparison that he makes between
Wow. Well, this just looks like it's boot licking. Is this a Nazi thing? Oh, I guess it's a Nazi boot that somebody's licking, but I don't know what this is in reference to. So
Jewish people and Nazis. He's
Whoa.
also quick to discredit anti-Semitic events.
I am so tired of fake anti-Semitism scandals in the UK.
And he
well, I just don't know what he's referring to, so I don't know if this is true in this specific instance.
consistently dehumanizes and vilifies Israelis at all costs.
Deranged Snark leader Gato Fumidar claims America's Zionist neighbors are trying to kidnap children on behalf of Israel. What does this have to do with him? Is he the one who runs this?
This and his association with Gato Fumidor,
Is that how you say it?
will go as far as to say that random Zionists are out trying to snatch up random kids. See, when your whole brand is, hey, look at me.
Is there any proof that they're going to go around and snatch up kids? Why the fuck would he even say that? I mean, I don't know if that's an honest interpretation of events, but and maybe the AI is wrong, but they say the human rights organizations and UN bodies have extensively documented Israel's practice of systematically detaining and prosecuting hundreds of Palestinian children each year under a military legal framework, which includes reports of abuse, torture, and family separation. Whoa, sounds like our border. Am I right, guys? An estimated 500 to 700 Palestinian children are detained by Israeli forces annually, primarily in the occupied West Bank. Okay, so it sounds like they're detaining Palestinian people in general in the West Bank and then separating families. I mean, the way that Gato, idiot cat fuck, or whatever his guy's name is unproductive, but this sounds like they're engaging in, like, they're arresting people and then they're separating their families. Most children, 55%, are arrested during nighttime raids on their homes by armed soldiers. Also, the West Bank occupation is, like, illegal. I think that's world recognized, so there might be a level of truth to it, even if it's not presented in a productive way, you know?
I absolutely don't hate other groups of people in it.
What
You
the fuck?
kind of need to be looked into, okay? You're compensating for something. The more I
Whoa.
watch this guy, the more he reminds me of somebody else.
Well, the problem with that, did I just hit them both with an arrow? That was awesome. The problem, though, you said at the beginning, is you don't really know anything about this guy. About this guy, so it's a little tough.
Since October the 7th, the number of people in the West who understand what Israel actually is has increased. And this is a major
try to
problem.
make the rest of the world believe that the new national consciousness of the Jews will be satisfied by the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine. The Jews thereby adopt another means to dupe the simple-minded gentle. They have not the slightest intention of building up a Jewish state.
Well, I don't know exactly what he said, but, like, yes, more people are realizing what's going on with Israel. All right, Israel, the government itself is a very oppressive force to people in Gaza, and it's a very complicated thing going on in the Middle East. There's a lot of Jewish hatred there. You know, when it was established in the first place, it was because that land was given to them by him, the British guy, right? And the UN declared that they're going to have an Israeli state and a Palestinian state, a Jewish state and an Arabic state. And it makes sense for Jews to want their own state. They're the only group of people that really don't well, now they have Israel, but really didn't have a state, and in a world that does not like Jewish people, unfortunately. You know, we didn't go into World War II to help Jews. So let's be fucking real. They've historically been slaves constantly throughout history. They were massively genocided. They're always a minority in the country that they're in, and it opens them up to threat. So they wanted their own Jewish state. The Muslim world, the Arabic world rather, rejected that notion, and I can understand that as well. But then Israel established themselves, and then since then they've been being attacked, and then they've been attacking back, and they've been pushing into and occupying more and more land. Now they're at a point where they're very financially abundant, partially because we give them that abundance, and it's time to engage in human rights for other groups of people. It's a very complex topic, but, like, the reality is that, like, yeah, Israel does have a lot of influence, and part of the reason that it has a lot of Western influence is because they are a Western stronghold in the Middle East, and so we kind of bend over backwards to do whatever they want. You know, and it's a very difficult kind of situation. That's why they get away with it. There's no deep-seated Jewish state running the world. That's not true. But Israel's in a very opportunistic situation, probably for the first time in Jewish history, where it's like, oh, we have something a lot of people want, especially the Western world, and they leverage that to try to overextend their bounds, which happens to cause, the death of a lot of other people, which is a terrible thing. I think that the government is genocidal, specifically the administration, Netanyahu. I think the people are perfectly fine. But it's like a tough situation. So like, yeah, you can dog whistle when you talk about that. I don't know if Chris is, because right now you played a little bit of Chris, and then you played, I'm assuming, something that's like some kind of anti-Semitic piece that's like anti-Jewish piece that you're putting out there. But I don't really know if that's representative of, you know, what he's saying, because I don't know what he's actually saying.
State in Palestine so as to live in it. What they really are aiming at is to establish a central organization for their international swindling and cheating. As a sovereign state, this cannot be controlled by any of the other states. Therefore, it can serve as a refuge for swindlers who have been found out, and at the same time, a high school for the training of other swindlers.
And for if some
Was that like, I'm assuming, was that part of like Mein Kampf? What the fuck was that?
reason you're like a really big Chris Kunzler fan and you're angry that I made that comparison.
It was, I don't really care about Chris Kunzler. Chris Kunzler. It's what's funny is that this video, like Chris talking to this girl, you could tell by the end of it, he was so tired of her. She was so fucking stupid. I feel like Chris is learning very quickly that not everybody is self-aware, and him talking to her was like insane. Like, just to be clear, this Cruel World Happy Mind girl is the girl who made her first video on Ethan and made sure that you knew she had no idea about Israel-Palestine, which I think is fine. But then a week later was trying to lecture people on what it meant to be anti-Semitic. It's like, okay, 2 years of this conflict and you didn't put any effort into educating yourself, and now you're going to sit here and try to fucking lecture people on the specifics of it. Get the fuck out of here.
Between him and the man with the mustache. You can go to my channel, you can click on more and just read this out loud to yourself.
What?
A little bit. Okay, we're peace and love here. We're peace and love. And it's actually projection if you are comparing Chris to that man with the mustache. Okay, that is your own internal battle. I'll let you deal with that. I was actually referring to this beautiful man. That's right, Hassan H. Christ.
Hassan Parker. Shout out to Hassan Parker.
This is so insane.
You're insane.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck
Whoa!
it. I'm saying it.
The clip is interesting when we do the 9/11 clip because it happened so long ago. And if you're like an Ethan supporter, it's like, you know, Ethan said some dumb shit too. I mean, we all have. When I talk about that clip, though, I think what's important is if you can kind of not acknowledge the trend of Hassan. And I would ask people that know of Hassan, like, what do you know him for? Do you know him for like his deep political shit? Or do you know him when he waves a fake gun around and threatens to dox somebody? Or says like America deserved 9/11? Or, you know, insinuates that a particular group, or excuse me, that a podcaster's wife is a valid military target? Or, you know, sits here and has, you know, his friend iDubbbz walk around with a swastika sword? Or like, what moments do you know him for? Do you know him for like actual political commentary, or do you know him for his provocative moments? And you're like, that's cool, and he's handsome. You know what I mean? So that's one of the problems. That's one of the things that like really rack in my brain right now, because I love doing slop, but sometimes like it gets weird because like the Hassan sphere, and this is one of the weirdest things about Chris Kunzler seems like an actual young man that wants to be a political voice, but right now his entire political voice is filtered through Ethan Klein, Hassan Parker drama. And it's like, do you think that I mean, the views are much better when you talk about that stuff, but like, do you think that that's the most productive way to operate? Is like, let's talk about everything through Ethan Klein and Hassan. It's like, I feel like, you know, Ethan is a drama podcast and Hassan is a political drama content creator. And I don't think that the mainstream world is really embracing Hassan, or ever will. He gets like a taste of mainstream and then he just looks ridiculous after it. So I wonder how productive it really, like, is it really productive to like throw your hat into this sphere, you know?
Now, recently, Hassan has been spiraling ever more into oblivion after recent
Puppygate
clips of him resurfaced.
Can you shut the fuck up when it comes to black folks? You really don't want to talk about us unless it comes from voting. When is
I think that's Sudan, right?
Last time you spoke about Sudan? I'm gonna fucking ether you. Any other black folk want to engage in radical activist language in this fucking chat?
So I think that what Hassan is saying here is that he's questioning the person being black, because there's a lot of white kids that say I'm black, and on the internet, when it's like I'm black, but I don't mind the N-word. You know, I think that's why he just to be charitable. I think that's what it is. Whoa!
Suck my fucking cock.
What?
As Vietnamese refugee, we have endured suffering under
this clip. What the fuck?
the communist regime, and we believe that.
Okay, fuck you, dude. I mean, seriously, fuck you, old lady. Shut the fuck up, you stupid fucking idiotic old lady.
Bro, it's so funny how triggered Hassan gets over communism, because a world where Hassan was a part of a communist country is a world where communism wouldn't go well. Or rather, a world with the type of person that Hassan is. Sorry. Let me rephrase this. A world with a bunch of Hassans would never allow communism to act correctly. Communism, the biggest flaw of communism is literally just humans. If you had a country that was like, hey, we want to like help everybody out in a way, in like a certain way, it's just not going to work out, because there's pieces of shit like Hassan that would be like, oh, I'm going to power grab. I genuinely see Hassan as a power grabber. I don't think he would be somebody that would be content with like doing work, even being more capable and doing work and getting the same thing as everybody else. Funny enough, the biggest struggle with our capitalist system is the human experience also. But that's one of the problems with like communism and capitalism, is they're too extreme. You really have to like very heavily regulate people, because we're all pieces of shit that will take advantage of everything. You know, the same people who complain about like people on EBT stealing money from the government are the same people that work for, you know, the MTA, or they'll work for like, you know, construction companies, that like county construction companies, or they'll work for the county in some capacity, and then they'll like work 3 hours of their 8-hour day, and they'll be like, look at all these people on welfare, they're fucking taking all our money. And then they sit there and they only work like a 23-hour work week, and then they sit down and they take a nap for the other fucking 17 hours while they're at work. You know what I mean? And like, listen, I used to work for the county, not for the county directly. I worked for like a private company through the county. It was kind of bullshit because our union sucked. But you think I worked 8 hours every day? No, you just don't do that. You know what I mean? Everybody takes advantage of the system. So the fuck?
With your stupid fucking gamer headset, who has fucked you harder? America or fucking Ho Chi Minh? Suck my dick, old lady. God damn, dude. Yo, fuck this refugee, okay?
Silly. What I find interesting there, and again, you know, this is why I try to be more productive. I'm trying to be more productive in the way that I express myself. Is if he wants to have a conversation about how actually he thinks that Vietnam got destabilized because of American influence in some capacity, blah 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 blah. I think that's perfectly fine. But that's not the conversation he had. He wanted to shit on her and make her feel stupid, or, you know, talk in a way that would make her feel stupid if she actually, you know, would ever watch him, instead of being like, hey, this is actually what it is. Like, you're misguided. I don't think that she's misguided. I don't think that communism will ever work, but, you know, that's the biggest problem there.
May be a surprise to you, but Hassan has been long touted on the left as, let me read off of this shirt. Okay. Someone who's against racism, bigotry, white supremacy, inequality, oppression, and when I first read this, I thought it said into France, but just imagine you feel compelled to wear this shirt. Just in case, you know, people thought you were pro all of these things, you bought a shirt to say that you weren't. And just to go back to Chris for a second, imagine feeling so guilty as a
what the fuck is happening here?
White British person that you have to dedicate your entire career to proving you're not one of those white British people.
This video is just missing the mark for me. Okay. I just feel like, I mean, again, if you have specific criticisms of Chris, that's fine. But like him being like, hey, I don't like the negative, you know, influences that what we've had as, I don't know, as a British country. I think that's fine. I don't think that's a reasonable criticism. He's saying it's all white guilt, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe he's just like, hey, these are bad, and I'm in a country where I could say something about it. I don't know.
And the irony here, in my opinion, is that is what Chris is trying to make Ethan Klein do. Chris wants Ethan's entire career to be proving upwards, downwards, leftwards, rightwards, diagonally waywards, that he isn't one of those Jews, and that Hila isn't one of those Israelis.
Maybe that's possible, I guess.
It's not
like I probably generally agree with that. In that conversation that he had with what's her face, there was like literally, it seems like they don't actually have a meaningful, like, hey, it seems like they just want Ethan to disavow himself being Jewish. That's what I got out of like watching the conversation that he had with Cruel World Happy Month. You know, although she did dominate most of the conversation there, but so I guess I could kind of agree with that. Sure.
speaking out enough. It is not.
So now, you see, that's what they do to me. They keep changing stuff.
Where the fuck is this guy?
So when she called us, it was like, Ethan kept asking, do you agree she didn't say that? And she said yes. Now, the problem is I didn't speak out enough.
If you didn't already know, Hassan and Ethan of H3H3 used to host a political podcast called Leftovers, where the two of them would comment on political news. This was a beloved podcast where the two unlikely podcasters came together and talked as if they were good friends.
Very selfish of you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's wonderful. You have a child.
However, the aftermath of October 7th proved too much for this pair, and they ended the show shortly after. I was never a Leftovers viewer, but I vaguely remember the following happening shortly after October 7th.
I think Israel shutting off water, power, and food to Gaza is insane. It doesn't even make sense. I've seen videos, I saw videos of Palestinian dads holding his dead, 5-year-old daughter. I mean, and there was another one that, as a father, it's even hard to talk about. This dude was holding his infant. It was a year old. And he was patting her on the back and saying his final goodbye. I mean, he's holding her like she's alive, like he's just burping her or something. I didn't expect to get emotional about that, but I'm a new dad and that shit really fucks me up. And I hate to see it. It's not right.
It's pretty clear to me that...
Yeah, Ethan obviously had quite a bit of compassion for, Palestinian people being massacred after, the October 7th massacre and the disproportionate response, which is why I think it was, really shitty and disingenuous of Hassan to, not side with his friend. And specifically be like, hey guys, I'm not going to allow people to shit on, my friend or my supposed friend Ethan Klein in the community. It's fine that you criticize him, but I'm going to ban certain or temporarily ban certain people who are saying things that are not true about him. Because Hassan admitted that he didn't think that Ethan was nasty or negative at all, and some of the things that he would express. But he was just like, people are just going to say whatever. But meanwhile, first of all, that's your friend. I think it's okay to limit your chat from saying horrible things like Ethan's a baby killer. And second of all, you've asked people in other communities to do that as well, like XQC. So it's very interesting. It just seems like he doesn't care. You know what I mean? I think that that's reasonable to be pissed off at your friend for not giving a fuck about you as a person and allowing his community to say horrific things about him.
Ethan has publicly spoken out against the actions of Netanyahu and the Israeli government.
Why did half of her audio cut out?
And very quickly after October 7th. Meanwhile, this is what I remember from Hassan. So when looking for this footage of Hassan and his reaction, I found this article, and it's basically glazing up Hassan saying, YouTube star Hassan tears over Israel-Palestine footage. It's really fucked up. And it says he's so brave, and look, he's
my left ear loves this video, Joe.
Being so brave by crying.
Sorry, this is really fucked up.
Is this the time where Hassan pretended to be sad? I don't mean to be a dick, but he came off as super authentic here. It was too authentic, some would say.
They went to her funeral and beat the shit out of people.
I don't think that Hassan actually cares what he's saying. He's feigning, authenticity here, but.
And ripped the Palestinian flag off of her.
I'm sorry. When Ethan was crying, he sounded authentic. I don't think Hassan sounds authentic at all in that. That's weird to cry. Why lie? Why? You don't have to cry to convey information. You know what I mean? Some people who are more emotionally and I'll say more feminine, and that's not even an insult, You know, them crying, that's when like they've hit a point of distress where they're frustrated, and that's how they express it. For Hassan, he doesn't have to express his frustration through crying, and I don't think that he generally would. I think that was like a performative like cry session to try to like make people it seem like he was sensitive, and it just doesn't come off as authentic. You know?
The reason why I show you those clips together is one, so that you can see the positive media reaction that
personally, I think the only acceptable time to cry is if you're asking somebody if they've ever loved before.
Most outlets will give Hassan if given the chance. Meanwhile, Ethan, somebody that is not only calling out the actions of Israel Netanyahu, he's actually naming the specific actions.
And they're hellbent on genocide, frankly, overtly. They've committed tons of war crimes in Gaza, including the killing of children, obviously, because Gaza is one of the most densely populated places in the world. 50% of the residents are under 18, so when you bomb a building, the chances that you're killing children is pretty much 100%.
And referring to past comments that he's made about the issue. Meanwhile, Hassan, who is also talking about a serious subject, it seems to me that, yes, he does mention that the IDF were wrongfully beating some people up, but his main contention is that they tore the Palestinian flag. And I'm not saying his tears aren't real, but...
Well, I don't think his tears are real. I don't think that that's Hassan's full commentary on Israel-Palestine. That it was just like in that specific moment. I would say like Hassan, I would say Hassan goes into more depth, obviously, on his like podcast about Israel-Palestine than Ethan does. I would say a lot of it is a dog whistle that there shouldn't even be an Israeli state, which is I think a problematic statement to make in general. But I don't know that I would say that Ethan in general has a more robust like conversational piece about it.
Ethan is reacting to something that he is relaying to his actual personal life. Meanwhile, I don't buy Hassan's tears as much.
Yeah, I don't either.
What you just saw in the last chapter was the beginning of the underground internet holy war. We witnessed in real time two famous YouTube podcasters open a centuries-old conflict that would soon escalate into an explosive internet feud that continues to this day. I'm going to admit something really embarrassing here. I was never an H3H3 fan, but I was someone who watched a lot of Hassan VODs. And in my defense, I was new to Hassan and I didn't know the entirety of everything that he's ever said.
After enduring sexual violence, the deadliest day for the Jewish people.
Doesn't matter if fucking rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much.
A lot has transpired since I first started paying attention to politics on YouTube, and the biggest being the fallout of Ethan and Hassan. Since the breakdown of the Leftovers podcast, I started seeing more and more snark about Ethan and Hila. Culminating in the tipping point where they had CPS called on them.
This morning we got a visit from Child Protective Services.
I just want to stress how much I wasn't a fan of H3H3. I wasn't a fan of
You weren't a fan of this? You weren't a fan of Gabe?
Ethan's humor, and I didn't really care about the topics they were often covering.
Why?
But I did become invested in the show after seeing all the flack they were getting. I still don't watch a majority of their content, but I do stay up to date with everything involving Hassan and iDubbbz and Anissa and Dennis.
You watched Pegasus to do that? That's fucking crazy.
And honestly, the latest, greatest drama regarding this whole thing, Madison Harness, aka Mother to Researcher of Cruel World Happy Mind, which is why I'm even
Mother to Researcher is actually very funny.
Talking about Chris Kunzler to begin with.
Why?
To summarize,
their video is so fucking garbage.
Chris Cumgluz is actually really, really, really boring, and I couldn't make it through a single 3-hour video that he has.
It's probably not the best person to make a video about Chris Kunzler then, if you didn't even like his video.
It was just boring. But
I mean, that's fair to say. I just also think it's gonna kind of make it difficult for you to be, talk about him in a way where he's bad if you don't actually watch him, you know?
His obsession with Ethan Klein helps illustrate the bigger question. Since October 7th, why has everyone turned on Ethan Klein? It's hard to look at this situation and how outspoken Ethan has been about Israel and its actions.
Realistically speaking, what happened is Ethan associated with a piece of shit, which is Hassan. When they had the conversation about what Ethan, like, Ethan was very sympathetic to Palestinians, but then like unfollowed Frogan, which caused a tidal wave. Hassan had absolutely no interest in saying like, hey guys, I know. He would say to people like, oh, I know that Ethan means well, but he had no interest in like having his community stop relentlessly harassing Ethan. And then after that, Ethan got very upset about it, and he started talking about Hassan a lot more than he probably should have. And then Hassan used his little goons to basically go after Ethan in some capacity, and then they escalated far too much to the point of like literally some snarkers, you know, have caused CPS to be called on him, and human skulls be sent to him, and here we are. You know, and I would say that in some instances there was probably less productive ways of Ethan talking about the topic or talking about it too much. They stopped. Then the biggest thing is they stopped making clips promoting their podcast outside. So like only thing that people knew about the podcast was like any conversation about Israel Palestine, and so they became off-putting to those people because it didn't really seem like they like had a whole lot of other shit going on optically. So yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of different things going on there. I'm not saying it was Ethan's fault for getting CPS called on him or anything, but there probably could have been like a better, Frogan, I'm pretty sure. Probably a better way to like handle it, I guess, from an optics perspective and a brand preservation perspective. You know?
Actions in Gaza and think that Ethan being Jewish just has nothing to do with it. The problem with creators like Chris Kunzler isn't that he's pro-Palestine, it's that he dodges Ethan and Hila's beliefs about Israel and Netanyahu and says the most outrageous baloney that slides right into anti-Semitism like butter. That's why I plan on continuing my deep dive into the underground internet holy war.
It wasn't really a deep dive. You even said that you were bored of him and you didn't really finish any of his videos. It's not really a deep dive. This is really just giving Chris like an easy dunk to be like, oh, you're wrong. You know what I mean?
I really hope you liked this. If you did, please like and subscribe to me. My last video, I am baffled. I
guess this is all part of learning to be a content creator.
Posted it, I got like 20 views, and I was so excited. And I was like, dude, I got 21 views, and I'm just like over the moon. And I was celebrating that.
Yeah, baloney fans are going crazy right now.
And then this morning, I woke up and suddenly I have, like 700 views on it. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the positive feedback, and I'll link some other videos about the Madison Harnish thing in my
got to edit out. I'm probably gonna have to remove the sound of this
comments because there are other content creators who also just did a more entertaining and delightful job. Anyways, I hope to never see you again, and I'm tired. Bye.
All right, that's probably a copyright song. Great stuff. All right, let's watch Chris Kunzler's reaction to this video.
You are not at all a leftist, and the fact that you think that you are a leftist at all, when you don't have any basic understanding of what is going on in the world, and your sources are loner box, you are not a leftist. You are a pro-Israel racist.
Could become
You're yelling at me.
Entangled in commentary by Singaporean SpongeBob fish turned brown guy, Pegasus.
Welcome back.
I don't understand what that means. I'm so confused.
To a series so volcanic, even Typhlosion subscribed in today's video.
We need to go back in time, and I just want to note here that although there is nowhere on the internet to support Chris's last name being Cumgluz, he sure gluzzes a bunch of cum.
So mature. You think this person's a fan of me? Because that's the kind of way that I would talk about somebody.
I don't understand why they think that this is so funny. Like, if I
It's immature. It's boy humor. Boy humor's funny, dude.
was 10, this would hurt my feelings. Like, what is this? Like, why do...
Bro, so you know what? Here's the thing. I'm getting older, and I realize some people just don't understand, respect, or appreciate boy humor. And that's just the way it is sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't get it. But boy humor is funny, and I like boy humor, and I think it's silly, and I think it's stupid. And that's why I thought it was funny. There you go.
these people think it's really funny.
Which I think is
interesting.
So today I want to be
I guess you'd have to be a boy to appreciate boy humor. Got him!
talking to you about the whitest British man alive, Chris Kunzler. And I can say that because I'm half white. And based on my limited knowledge of Chris and his
I love that it starts with limited knowledge of Chris and then it goes into, hey, come check out my next deep dive we do. It's like those two things don't work together.
Interview with Quam. Check out my last video on how she single-handedly freed Gaza here. I find it hard to believe he's concerned about Palestinian existence at all. As I mostly saw Chris spew anti-Semitic tropes under the guise of, well, I actually just think it's fun for him. So I decided to dig into
Is he just skipping through her video?
his limited presence.
What the hell was that?
Guise of, well, I actually just think it's fun for him. So I decided
maybe that was her weird cut in the video.
to dig into his limited presence. Now, before I give my thoughts and opinions, I think it's essential to note that Chris is British. And I can say that because I'm half British.
I don't understand what these things mean.
Why is this important? I'll try to keep
I think it's a meme. I think that this is just like a fully white person from America, and they just keep saying that they're half of something as a meme to say it's okay to say a bad thing, I guess, even though it's really not that bad what they're saying.
This part as short as possible.
That you have to appreciate that many people in American and British society enjoy the killing of people that they deem as others.
After World War I,
why do they?
I think that's like every society. I feel like, that's probably us. That's crazy. But you also look at, other societies that stone gay people to death. I think that they just kill them because they otherize those people and they want to. I think that people are inherently very violent. And that they there's different outlets you can engage with your violence or to outlets to get rid of that violence in hopefully productive ways. An unproductive way would be to stone gay people to death, right? So, but we don't do that in America, thankfully. I'm just saying, I don't think that this is like a white exclusive thing. But although we are very good at violence, I mean, people are always like, oh, this group of people are really violent, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, yeah, but white people took over the world. You have to be pretty violent to do that. Whites? No, I'm just kidding. But, okay.
They all think that that's such stupid analysis.
Britain started babysitting the most
I think the problem with the analysis isn't that hey, there's people can be the problem is you're pointing out white people specifically instead of being like, hey, this is kind of a human problem, which I think it is, right? I don't think that there's anything inherently additionally violent about white people that doesn't exist for other groups of people.
contentious site
What's she talking about?
on the planet.
I recorded a long thing on Britain, fumbling the spiciest location on Earth. However, it was super. What are you talking about?
Anyways, it didn't go up.
She kind of fucked herself on that one.
I just wanted to remind ourselves that Britain has also committed its fair amount of war crimes and atrocities. God forbid.
That one doesn't really work well because he said it was Britain and America, and then she said like, oh well, Britain has done a lot of bad things too, and it's like, well, he said that. I think that was the point, one of the points he was trying to make. But
Israel is literally amongst those war crimes and injustices.
The world ever chant for Britain's destruction, because that would just be, I don't know, kind of crazy.
You're correct about that much.
I just want to iterate, criticizing the state of Israel is not in an...
By the way, that video had a huge amount of criticism of Britain in when I was talking to Abdul Razak Takriti.
Unpopular opinion, you like white people. I respect that, dude. I think it's okay. You're in a safe spot here. Don't worry.
Really interesting to pick that.
Of itself anti-Semitic. And I don't think that all pro-Palestine creators are anti-Semitic. However, I'm just going to let Chris's content speak for itself. Chris's first tweet was on December 10th, 2024.
This is also not my first tweet. I don't know how you reached this as my first tweet, but her analysis of this tweet is amazing.
Which he commented on the...
Oh, we got a dirty pre-watcher, guys. Uh-oh.
UK's relationship with the United Arab Emirates and its hands in the genocide happening in Sudan. But also, for some reason, Israel. That is something you'll notice about his content.
It's really impressive that there are people who just point out a tweet and are just unable to comprehend anything here. Because claiming that I just started talking about Israel here is interesting. More people need to start talking about Emirati influence over the UK. We can't only be concerned with Israel. This is literally disproving the point she's talking about.
Yeah, he's right about that one. This was him also criticizing the UAE. And then she made it seem like he only criticized Israel. I guess you could say that the last sentence she had made it maybe seem like the UAE is working with Israel or something, but it seemed more like he was just saying that oh, this is also in their interests as well or something. She kind of fumbled the bag on that one.
This is a country facilitating genocide in Sudan right now, spreading authoritarian brutality and also serving Israel's interests.
Whoa.
What? Like, how are you this stupid?
No, I think it's a really
He kind of got you on that one. Chris Kunzler W, I guess.
important thing that people do talk about the genocide that's been happening in Sudan since 2003, in which 300,000 people have been slaughtered. It's just not realistic to blame Israel for absolutely everything.
Yes, but it is realistic to include them. It is realistic to include, like, this analysis of saying that these fantastical visions about a new peaceful Middle East is ridiculous. Chris is fake British because he does not pronounce it British. Yeah, because I'm posh. That's why.
The hell is posh?
I know that you pooped your
My favorite Spice Girl? What the fuck?
pants, but also not Israel.
What is that?
So anyways, I found
Very, very, very powerful and funny analysis there.
his public LinkedIn page, which details
Why is
his
this so
skills in
difficult to kill?
German and Farsi.
Yes, that's quite a notable thing. I also don't have much
Yeah, I
on
think I
there
would-
because
I think I would put my German skills in there too if I spoke German.
pretty
Why
much
is
out
that
of
fine?
university, this is what I've done. Like, I've made videos and content about Palestine, and then I went back to university and got another degree. Also, mention that I got a distinction there, please.
As well as his degrees from Exeter University in Near and Middle Eastern Studies. Now, there could only be one reason for this LinkedIn page, because also
Probably as like some kind of a, what is it called? The resume?
it has 0 other
Posh means gay. Oh, that's what I knew that.
details. And that's to try and bolster his credentials for when people come running to claim he has no idea.
Wait.
I don't think anybody's going to go, truthfully speaking, I don't think anybody's going to go source his LinkedIn or whatever for that, but okay.
Why would it be to bolster my credentials? Like, many people have LinkedIn as a means to, like, contact people and to show that they're on the internet. How much do I have to pay to make this video stop? Thanks for the $2, hello,
I
Michelle.
don't think anybody's going to be like, oh man, Chris doesn't know what he's talking about. And then somebody's going to go like, oh, but look at his LinkedIn. It says he speaks German. I don't think that's going to happen. It's weird.
But there is no amount of money. But I don't understand why you're so confused by LinkedIn.
What he's actually talking about, in my opinion. But it's clear from watching Chris's content that he does have a fair bit of knowledge regarding certain geopolitical events in the Middle East. However, Chris hasn't really tried to hide the comparison that he makes between Jewish people.
I don't know what this was in response to, and neither does she, because it's deleted. I don't know what it was. If it
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I don't know what I mean, it's a good point. I said the same thing, yeah.
was someone like bootlicking actual Nazis, I don't know.
And Nazis. He's
Do you guys think that Chris Kunzler paid this girl to make this video to make him look better? Chat, is this conspiracy valid? Oh,
also
fuck you, dude.
quick to discredit anti-Semitic events.
I am so tired of fake anti-Semitism scandals in the UK.
Yes, there have been multiple...
Yeah, I don't know what he's referring to. There could be actual fake anti-Semitism scandals in the UK, so we'd have to know what he's specifically talking about to give commentary on that.
Totally fake anti-Semitism scandals, claiming that all pro-Palestine marches are... hate marches. That's just not true. It's a fake anti-Semitic scandal. The government directly lying, which this video was about Maccabi Tel Aviv fans and claiming, oh no, Maccabi Tel Aviv fans were targeted because they're Jewish, and saying Jewish people were banned from certain parts of the UK. Not true.
And he consistently...
This is a funny tweet. Tel Aviv being bombed. Everyone liked that. What is wrong with that? Israel consists...
Well, that's not good. Tel Aviv is like their most like left-leaning city too, so I would say that that's, if anything, that's where all the opposition to the Israeli government's coming from. Why would you be okay with that?
He has bombed and has felt no real reprisals for mass murder for decades.
Dehumanizes and vilifies Israel.
I also like just highlighting all of this stuff. It's hell for Michelle. Oh, sorry, hell for Michelle. Thanks for the €2. I'll make sure I note that. Chris claims he is posh, yet no top hat. Yeah, sorry, my monocle, it's too hot for my top
Ooh, got him.
hat and monocle. I like how she just, like, pulled up my videos here, which are, Ethan, please stop talking about Palestine, the Zionist propaganda of Alika Lebon, not an Israeli, a video about Douglas Murray, a British extremist, Ethan Klein talking about misogyny, traveling Israel objectively lying, and Lonabox.
Israelis at all costs. This and his association with
fuck?
Gatto Fumador, who...
My association with Gatto Fumador. Okay, brilliant.
will go
Well, I mean, is the association just like reposting his stuff on Twitter? What is it?
as far as to say that random Zionists are out trying to snatch up random kids. See, when your whole brand is, hey, look at me, I absolutely don't hate other groups of people, innit?
Yeah, that's the whole point of talking about Israel. I don't hate another group
Well, I
of
mean, again, we looked into that. It seemed like there was some level of truth to it. Even if it wasn't displayed productively, it seems like there's a level of truth to that. So,
people. I hate the state of Israel because it's a genocidal entity.
You can't...
I don't think that the state of Israel is a genocidal. See, that's like what problem. I don't think that the inherent state of Israel is a genocidal entity. I think that there's a way for Israel to exist. And I think that would be the one where I was like, oh, okay, there you go. Like there's like a reasonable criticism to make of Chris. Like, oh, that if he thinks the actual state of Israel is completely unjustifiable, that, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it anti-Semitic, but I would definitely I definitely disagree with that. I don't think that that's the case. I think that it's okay for Israel to exist. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Kind of need to be looked into.
I just don't think that like as we say, the terror campaign from I don't think the terror campaign is appropriate, you know, from the Israeli government. But like, ironically, the people in Tel Aviv are more left-leaning and tend to vote against Netanyahu. So, you know,
okay.
The comment before about like being positive to bomb them or whatever doesn't seem particularly productive.
You're compensating for something. The more I watch this guy, the more he reminds me of somebody else.
Since this is amazing. October the 7th, the number of people in the West who understand what Israel actually is has increased. And this is a major
try to make
problem.
the rest of the world believe that the new national consciousness of the Jews will be satisfied by the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine. The Jews thereby adopt another means to dupe the simple-minded Gentile. They have not the...
How is this in any way related? She's quoted Hitler here. When the Zionists tried to make the rest of the world believe that the new national consciousness of the Jews will be satisfied by the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine, the Jews thereby adopt another means to dupe the simple-minded Gentile. They have not the slightest intention of building up a Jewish state in Palestine. What? What are you talking about here? This is the exact opposite of what I said. I said that the Zionist project is about building up a Jewish state in Palestine. What are you talking about? Like, what are you even talking about here? How are you this stupid? How?
Slightest intention of building up a Jewish state in Palestine so as to live in it. What they really are aiming at is to establish a central...
And thanks for the $2. Projector's going to project. Yes, she's a fan of Israel. It's very obvious what she's projecting. Being a hateful racist. What they really are aiming at is to establish a central organization for their international swindling and cheating. When have I ever said this? As a sovereign state, this cannot be controlled by any of the other states. What are you talking about? I totally disagree with that. Therefore, it can serve as a refuge for swindlers who have been found out.
Well, I mean, America could probably have a level of control in Israel if we would fight, like if we would be a little bit more aggressive against what they're doing. We could potentially sanction them, not give them unlimited amounts of money. So it's like, yeah, you probably could do a little bit more.
At the same time, what are you talking about? I am totally against the concept of Israel.
Organization for their...
Yeah, I would say that's disagreeable, so...
International swindling and cheating. As a sovereign state, this cannot be controlled by any of the other states. Therefore, it can serve as a refuge for swindlers who have been found out, and at the same time, a high school for the training of other swindlers.
And for if some reason you're like a really big Chris Kunzler fan, and you're angry that I made that comparison between him and the man with the mustache, you can go to my channel.
Who's that?
You can click on more and just read this out loud to yourself a little bit. Okay, we're peace and love here. We're peace and love.
The fact that a near 20-minute video took you this long to make, like it's a week, and it is just not researched. It doesn't say anything profound.
I feel like Chris Kunzler's reaction to the video is more damning than the video itself. You know, because that's my biggest contention is like I do think Israel has the right to exist. And there's literally no way to break up Israel without causing Jews to die. That's the reality. And I don't think that Jewish people deserve to die. This is a hot take here, guys. Apparently. You know, it's a very complicated history, but like, you know, Jewish people were forced out of their Arabic homes historically and forced to go to Israel. You know, Jews have never been really welcomed in any part of the world, unfortunately, for a very long time. And so Jewish people wanted their own state. And unfortunately, they were given that land at a time where that was what people did. They gave away land that wasn't necessarily theirs. They tried to establish a Jewish state and an Arab state. The Arab world didn't want that. You know, fair enough. And this is where it's come to. But I don't think that there's a productive means of just being like, oh, yeah, let's just dissipate this state. That's not going to be good for Jewish people. I don't think it's because Arabic people are like inherently evil or anything, but like right now things are a little too complex to just like disband the state. I think that reparations to Palestine from Israel and the United States probably could be very productive. A productive way to make a positive change, but I don't think that you could just disband Israel. So that's what I would say. Like, oh, that's my biggest issue with what Chris has to say about these things. You know, is I think that there should. I mean, right now. You know, do I think that we should move to a place where Israel is no longer an exclusive Jewish state? For sure. Same thing with like other Muslim countries or really any country. But like we're just not there right now. You know what they say, guys, time heals all wounds. Okay? It's beautiful stuff.
It is amazing.
And it's actually projection if you are comparing Chris to that man with the mustache. Okay, that is your own internal battle. I'll let you deal with that. I was actually referring to this beautiful man. That's right, Hassan H. Christ.
This is so insane. America deserved 9/11.
You're insane. You're in pain. Sorry.
9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
Why would Hitler be upset by America deserving 9/11? Or sorry, why would Hitler say that? I was reading something about like the concept of realism, and there was a really interesting quote in this. Part of the reason why this story is history is so obscure that it has always been scandalous to liberals. The frank assertion of the claims of power sits poorly with an ideal of universal rights. In the Second World War, German geopoliticians like Haushofer found themselves anathematized by the Allied press and put in the dock at Nuremberg. The condemnation was confusing to them because they openly acknowledged how much they owed to the example of America's own expansion in the 19th century. To overcome their embarrassment, as Spectre shows in a series of head-turning chapters on realism in the US, had to invent a new history for itself, which positioned it as a more abstract theory, detached from its imperialist roots.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure like all that they're really saying there is that like some of the things that Nazi Germany did were inspired by America. Like I think some of the camps that we put was it, or the way we treated Native Americans, I think, and so they were confused when we didn't support their campaign of terror. Although frankly, the only reason we didn't is because we were bombed and we never would have gotten involved otherwise. And then so basically we're just saying it's like we whitewashed history in some capacity. Probably a level of truth to that, baby. Wouldn't doubt it.
He's basically talking about how people like Haushofer and Schmidt, not just like directly comparing Mearsheimer to them, but talking about the concept of realism, envision Germany's Großraum as an equivalent to the British Empire and America's Monroe Doctrine. So like this idea is just ridiculous. This lady is trying to give us RFK brainworms. Yeah, thanks for the $2, Anna, but unfortunately I think you're correct. She is obviously a genius. There's no compromising. I think I'm gonna have to agree with you, Enzaya. Yeah, I think she might be a young genius.
Now, recently Hassan has been spiraling ever more into oblivion after recent clips of him resurfaced.
Can you shut the...
Well, I think what it is that like we're in a weird time. And the weird time that we're in is like where there's a lot of slop and politics are mixing. And that's really, I mean, there's plenty of reasons for that, but part of it's because, Hassan worked with Ethan. Part of it is because Hassan is not exclusively a political content creator, but he's actually a slop drama political content creator. And so we're seeing a lot of crossover between a lot of different groups of people interacting here. And some of those people are the people that like the Hassan conversation or the Palestinian conversation when it is specifically and exclusively slop involved. But when it gets out, when it moves outside of the slop, it gets weird. So they're not really coming with all their facts here. It gets a little bit weird.
The fuck up when it comes to black folks. You really don't want to talk about us unless it comes from voting. When is the last time you spoke about Sudan? I'm gonna fucking ether you. Any other black folk want to engage in radical activist language in this fucking chat? Suck my fucking cock.
As Vietnamese refugee, we have endured suffering under the communist regime, and we believe that...
Okay, fuck you, dude. I mean, seriously, fuck you.
I mean, the vast majority of the suffering undeniably came from America. Like up that motherfucking stream. Happy Friday.
America-based? Just kidding.
Friday, Chris. Happy Friday to everyone else, and thanks for the $2.
Happy Friday, guys.
Turner.
With your stupid...
Thanks for $2, guys. Happy Friday, baby.
Fucking gamer headset. Who is... Fuck you.
Wow, it's fucking Sunday. I don't know what day it is.
Harder. America or fucking Ho Chi Minh? Suck my dick, old lady. God damn, dude. Yo, fuck this refugee, okay?
This may be a surprise to you, but Hassan has been long touted on the left as, let me read off of this shirt, okay. Someone who's against racism, bigotry, white supremacy, inequality.
That shirt is terrible.
Oppression, and when I first read this, I thought it said, into France, but just imagine you feel compelled to wear this shirt. Just in case, people thought you were pro all of these things, you bought a shirt to say that you weren't. And just to go back to Chris for a second, imagine feeling so guilty as a white British person that you have to dedicate your entire career to proving you're not one of those white British.
Chris Kunzler just saved me from getting killed by that guy, dude. What the hell? Thank you, Christopher. Thank you.
People.
What are you talking about? That's not the point at all of what
It really is just like a random thing that she's talking about. And him potentially having some kind of guilt of the country associated with doesn't necessarily diminish anything he has to say. But I guess you could make the argument that he's being disproportionate because he feels guilty, but I don't know if that's true. Well, I'm dumb as fuck.
I don't care what people think of me as a British person. Well, I suppose that's not necessarily true because I would rather that British people were generally educated and weren't so obnoxious and horrible about their history.
I'd rather us be uneducated, frankly.
Well, our history. Frankly, saying that I do this because I'm upset or worried about being British is insane behavior.
And
it's insane. It's in pain, dude. I could tell by what you're saying.
Here, in my opinion, is what Chris is trying to make Ethan Klein do. Chris wants Ethan's entire career to be proving upwards, downwards, left.
No, I would just like.
Well, I think at some point in her video, she shows that like he just doesn't want Ethan to talk about politics. I think that was one of the things. I do think that like I don't know if I'd call it anti-Semitism, but the being anti-Jewish state, or rather, I mean, I think it's fine to not be for a Jewish state. I just think that that's like the only practical thing for right now until we make a transition. But I guess you could argue that maybe that's anti-Semitic to not think that Jewish people need a state because of all the anti-Semitism in the world. I don't know. But I think that most of his point is like, oh, Ethan just shouldn't talk about this. I think, but he doesn't seem to have like an unreal. I don't think that there's. I think that considering the reality is that considering he doesn't think Israel has a right to exist at all, he's never going to think anything that Ethan says is valid, because Ethan is like, oh, I think that Netanyahu is like a genocidal fucking war criminal, but I think Israel has a right to exist. And so there's never going to be enough for Chris unless Ethan disavowed the place that like, you know, a country that he enjoys.
Like him to actually talk about Palestine in a positive way and stop being a Zionist. And
I don't think that. Well, I mean, I guess his definition of Zionist is anybody that thinks Israel has the right to exist. I would say that it would probably be more productive for Ethan to either stop talking about politics or to talk about politics more than just through Hassan. Because a lot of times it's like, oh, we're talking about Hassan or iDubbbz, and then we'll talk about Palestine. Or it's like, okay, just talk about Palestine, or just don't, or talk about other topics as well. You know, I think that like if Ethan is, and I doubt that he is hell bent to talk about politics. I think that's the reason why he started associating with Hassan, is because like he wanted to have somebody on that he thought was like educated and politically educated. But there do be a lot going on with other people. Like, I mean, I don't think Asmongold gets enough hate whatsoever. I am a little maybe Ethan called Asmongold out, I don't know, but there's like a clip going around of Asmongold being like, oh, it's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when I sit down with Nick Fuentes. It's like, you know, if you're against anti-Semitism, probably should call that out. Although maybe Ethan just thinks that it's better to just stay quiet right now, that maybe that's a better optics play. I mean, I don't really know. Maybe he thinks that like any airtime is positive airtime for Nick Fuentes' like you know, whitewashing campaign of his, you know, his own morals. So there's a lot of things. That might very well be it. It might just be like, hey, I think that right now me talking about it won't be productive. I don't know. Who knows, you know?
Use his platform for good. It's not like he ever actually talks about anything positive vis-a-vis Palestine, and it's also to use it as to use it as like something as an educational opportunity to talk about liberal Zionism and the problem with people who pretend to be against settlements and Netanyahu but really are just Zionists.
Well, he does say that he does say that like he thinks that like you know, the West Bank is a valid military target. So I think that's something, you know.
Rightwards, diagonally waywards, that he isn't one of those Jews, and that Hila isn't one of those Israelis.
It's not speaking out enough. It is not.
So now, you see, that's what they do to me.
If Chris references that this girl gave him brainworms, I'll think that's kind of based.
Keep changing stuff. So when she called us...
No, I think the stuff that people find out about you is genuinely worse. Like, genuinely worse.
Like what?
Yeah,
what do they find out about Hila that's so bad?
Talking to Chatlow, yeah, you're all the children. Ariana, thanks for the 25 AED. All this to defend a man who's done blackface 3 times and has a 10-minute long N-word. I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
It was like, Ethan kept asking, do you agree she didn't say that? And she said yes.
Not really. I don't think it's that crazy. I don't... Like, are we really going to be that locked onto that Ethan might have done blackface as a joke back then? Like, I know that he was trying on some kind of like, you know, black face mask thing that was part of the video, but some of that was like a blackface joke, right? Like, I don't care about the blackface jokes from like 10 years ago. Like, are we going to pretend we hear, like, the things were different back then, unfortunately. People were less sensitive. It's not good, but I don't think that he did it to make fun of black people. I think that he thought he was being silly. I don't think he was trying to, like, make like a joke about black people. You know what I mean? Or, like, about how, like, I don't think that he was doing what he was doing to try to shame them. So I'm not, like, sitting here, like, super morally outraged by it. It's just, you know, he was dumb. And he was on the wrong side of the conversation about like if we should say if we could say all words or no word, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, if it's you know, all words are just a word, you know. It's like, okay, yeah, that's cringe. Like, okay, I would expect an older person to have like more cringe, you know, less more regressive take on things back then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily care as much. I don't think it was good, but I don't think it was like some kind of thing that makes it seem like he's a horrible person.
Now the problem is I didn't speak out enough.
If you didn't
speak out at all. In defense of this lady, Hassan is much more muscular than Hassan. Who do you? I think you meant. Did you mean me? But yeah, he's a muscular guy.
Already know, Hassan and Ethan of H3H3 used to host a political podcast called Leftovers, where the two of them would comment on political news. This was a beloved podcast where the two unlikely podcasters came together and talked as if they were good friends.
Very selfish of you.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. You have a child.
However, the aftermath of October 7th proved too much for this pair, and they ended the show shortly after.
Whoa.
I was never a Leftovers viewer, but I vaguely remember the following happening shortly after October 7th.
I think Israel shutting off water, power, and food to Gaza is insane. It doesn't even make sense. I've seen videos, I saw videos of Palestinian dads holding their...
But I do want to remind you that as well, one of the reasons that people were upset about, like, this kind of stuff as well, is because Ethan's wife then called the guy who did that, who commanded that, who Ethan is crying about here, called him a really great guy.
That's not why people are upset. That's one of like the bullshit talking points that people bring up. Just to be absolutely clear, they're upset because Ethan said that some Jewish people think that from the river to the sea is anti-Semitic dog whistle that says they want to kill Jews. That's why people were upset, and like he unfollowed Frogan. That Gallant conversation happened way much later in everything. That did not happen. That wasn't one of the first things that happened at all. Fuck, I thought I got my thing off. That wasn't one of the first things that happened at all. That happened much later. And even in that conversation, they apologized. She's like, oh, sorry. I wasn't trying to say that he was a good guy. They were specifically referencing that Netanyahu got rid of Gallant when Gallant was trying to say, we need to stop attacking Gaza. That was the point that they were trying to make. And I think that if you watched that and cared, you would know. It's definitely a mistalk. And you could argue that they should have been much more media literate. And frankly, it's shocking that they've been around for so long without that type of media literacy. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to say. But to try to make it seem like that wasn't a point that they were making, that it's a really great guy at all. And I think that anybody that's being honest would know that. So.
And the apology was just a little bit, and that's it.
His dead,
not really
5-year-old daughter. I mean, and there was another one that as a father, it's even hard to talk about. This dude was holding his infant. It was a year old. And he was patting her on the back and saying his final goodbye. I mean, he's holding her like she's alive.
That guy also was killed by Israel. What was his name?
Okay. Wouldn't that strengthen Ethan's argument? I don't understand. He's saying it was terrible that Israel did that. So I don't understand. Is that a dunk?
My soul. I'm sure that video was of Khaled Naban, and he was killed, and I don't think Ethan even mentioned that. Not trying to be elitist, but...
Ethan didn't mention that Israel killed them? Do you think it was a magical other entity? I don't understand.
With your credentials and rep, you are well above needing to respond to someone as disingenuous as this. I think that the thing, though, is
I think these are going to be the moments where people are like, oh, you really will just never give Ethan charity. I think, yeah. Maybe I'm just giving him too much charity. I don't know.
Even if that is the case, this person called me a Nazi and anti-Semitic multiple times, and it's it's absolutely crazy that that this is an actual video on the internet, that someone can make this. If I lived in America and if there was capacity and I cared enough to do it, surely I could just sue this person, because these are really serious allegations that have dangerous.
What? I don't think that you could sue them at all. I don't know why you thought America is very sue them for what? Defamation?
Blowback that have no truth in them, and these people should not feel comfortable about making assertions like this, that I am racist, that I am anti-Semitic, when none of the things that I do point to that, when I can actually point out the people who I say are like Nazis, who I say engage with the same rhetoric and make a decent argument to make sense.
I didn't expect to get emotional about that, but I'm a new dad, and that shit really fucks me up. I hate to see it.
It's fucking crazy that Ethan's left ear to the gang. It's crazy that Ethan's he's upset that Palestinians are getting killed, and he's referencing it one. He's like, oh yeah, well Israel killed them, right? It's yeah, I think he knows that. I think that's part of the conversation. just to be absolutely clear. Oh, okay, I see now.
It's pretty clear to me that Ethan has publicly spoken out against the actions of Netanyahu, and...
Yes, and this is literally the problem. The problem that Ethan is unwilling to confront. The problem of a so much wider group of pro-Israel people that saying, I'm upset about killing in Gaza, I'm upset about Gaza, I'm upset about this thing, when simultaneously you continually make excuses for Israel is wherein the problem lies.
Well, I'm not understanding that part. What excuse does he make for Israel continuously? Is he just referring to the fact that he's I think Israel can exist? Is it just the excuse he gives Israel is that he thinks that they have the right to exist? Is that what he's referring to there? That he shouldn't be saying they have the right to exist? Is that what he's referring to there? I don't understand.
I don't think that any of these people will ever engage with this.
Dude, what the fuck
the Israeli government, and very quickly after October 7th. Meanwhile, this is what I remember from Hassan. So when looking for this footage of Hassan and his reaction, I found this article, and it's basically glazing up Hassan, saying YouTube star Hassan tears over Israel Palestine footage. It's really fucked up, and it says he's so brave, and look, he's being so brave by
Queen.
crying.
Sorry, this is really fucked up.
By the way, also, what Hassan is crying over here is literally the kind of thing that Hila participated in, serving in the
What do you mean?
West Bank.
They went to her funeral.
She was like 20. Like, she was this is what I'm talking about. It's like Hassan. For the way, this is fake crying from Hassan. Let's just be fucking real. But then it's just like, by the way, what he's crying about, Hila did that. Hila was like a fucking kid. And you know what? If you want to criticize Ethan, like there's that Houthi terrorist pirate kid there. He called himself that. And if you want to be like, hey, why are we holding this 19 or 20-year-old kid to such a high standard? He's a young kid. I think that that's fine. And you can even criticize Ethan for that. I mean, the kid said he was a terrorist, but you know, there's a whole conversation. But like you know, it's fine to criticize him for that. But then like it's a fuck. Oh, maybe it's because Chris is a kid. I think that might actually be he wouldn't acknowledge this argument. But I mean, like, you know, we're talking about Hila is a fucking child. 20, and like 20 years old is not an actual child, but like you're 20. You're not, you know, I think it's tough to be the person that's like, hey, different countries engage in different levels of propaganda in their favor, which is absolutely true. Every country does that. And I guarantee you that he would acknowledge that point and then be like, oh, hey, back then Hila thought this was like the right thing to do. You know, I just feel like she was like 20 and she was doing what she did desk work. So, you know, but she did get bored. But I just to boil it down to make it seem like she's like this big prolific part of it. It just seems very silly to me.
And beat the shit out of people and rip the Palestinian flag off of her.
The reason why I show you those clips together is one, so that you can see the positive media reaction.
By the way, this clip of Ethan was also so incredibly viral, and also was in multiple like pro-Palestine outlets like Middle East I Shared, and acting as if the media reaction, and then basing this on a clip of Ethan crying and being talked about on Reddit.
Action that most outlets will give Hassan if given the chance. Meanwhile, Ethan, somebody that is not only calling out the actions of Israel Netanyahu, he's actually naming the specific actions.
And they're hellbent on genocide, frankly, overtly. They've committed tons of war crimes in Gaza, including the killing of children, obviously, because Gaza is one of the most densely populated places in the world. 50% of the residents are under 18, so when you bomb a building, the chances that you're killing children is pretty much 100%.
And referring to past comments that he's made about the issue. Meanwhile, Hassan, who is also talking about a serious subject, it seems to me that, yes, he does mention that the IDF were wrongfully beating some people up, but his main contention is that they tore the Palestinian...
Jesus Christ as well, like this, like you know nothing about what you're talking about. You're talking about like an esteemed journalist being murdered by Israel who then fucking lied about it. They murdered a journalist. Like, I'm sorry, having this kind...
Maybe Hassan was crying because he fancies himself as a journalist, or he says he's a journalist. Maybe Hassan was like, that could have been me. He does on-the-ground journalism by reading out-of-context Twitter threads. Wow, I'm fucking dead already.
The reaction to that is unbelievable.
Flag. And I'm not saying his tears aren't real, but Ethan is reacting to...
I am. I don't think that was a genuine crying moment from Hassan.
Something...
I'm an empath, I would know.
...that he is relaying to his actual personal life. Meanwhile, I don't buy Hassan's tears as much.
You don't even know what's going on. You don't even know what he's talking about.
That is valid, though. I don't think that she does know what he's talking about.
It's unbelievable. And like just the level of confidence to talk like this and to call people anti-Semitic when your knowledge of Palestine is literally based on slop videos and liking Ethan Klein is unbelievable. Or in fact, just hating Hassan.
What you just saw in the
base.
last chapter was the beginning of the underground internet holy war. We witnessed in real time two famous YouTube podcasters open a centuries-old conflict that would soon escalate.
Oh yeah, shit, sorry. Once again, just look at this. Look at that image of Ethan Klein. Like, oh my God, you're fucking Mormon. You're Mormon. Why are you doing that? What is this image? Meg, thanks for...
I think she's trying to say that, like, you guys think he's the devil.
The $5. Every accusation is a confession. Of course. She also calls Cruel World Happy Mind Madison. She calls her Mother Teresa. She didn't even know what Hassan was crying over.
Why are you pre-watching, dude? That's lame. Only lame guys pre-watch, bro. That's fucking lame, dude.
That clip
of the underground internet holy war. We witnessed in real time two famous YouTube podcasters open a centuries-old conflict that would soon escalate into an explosive internet feud that continues to this day. I'm going to admit something really embarrassing here. I was never an H3 fan, but I was.
Why is that embarrassing, though, to say that, you know?
someone who watched a lot of Hassan VODs. And in my defense, I was
the Hassan part might be the embarrassment part.
New to Hassan, and I didn't know the entirety of everything that he's ever said.
During sexual violence, the deadliest day for the Jewish people.
Doesn't matter if fucking rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much.
This is a completely reasonable take, but of course,
it's not a reasonable take at all. It's really not. And like, I don't know. The most unreasonable part of the take is that like you should be more careful when you're talking. If you wanted to say, yeah, there probably were rapes happening and that is terrible, but it doesn't change the specific dynamic, that's fine. Hassan knows the way that he talks, and he knows the way that he talks is very important. And after him consistently downplaying the very real likelihood that there were rapes on October 7th, and then, you know, sitting there and speaking in that way, how is that going to sound to people? It sounds to people like he doesn't care if Jewish people were raped. He doesn't care at all. That's like not a good thing. And it's this whitewashing of Hamas. You know, we can have there can be like obviously a complicated conversation to be had about how like Hamas rose from the oppression of Palestinian people, of course. But I mean, to have absolutely no empathy for any Jewish civilians. I mean, it would make sense that Chris wouldn't either, because he doesn't think Israel has a right to exist. I think that we're at a point like him and Hassan have completely dehumanized. They've gotten to a point where they've like completely dehumanized Israeli people by thinking that they don't even have the right to exist in their country at all. I think that's part of it.
People won't accept that. Also, Canadian.
Ooh,
a lot has transpired since I first started paying attention to politics on YouTube, and the biggest being the fallout of Ethan and Hassan. Since the breakdown of the Leftovers podcast, I started seeing more and more snark about Ethan and Hila culminating in the tipping point where they had CPS called on them.
This morning we got a visit from Child Protective Services.
It's also quite funny because, like, you didn't care for Ethan's humor. Okay, why are you...
I would imagine that would be like your biggest thing. Like, if you don't care for Ethan's humor, like, what's the poll at that point, you know?
defending him now, or pretending, like, acting as if he's some, like, moral great guy.
But I did become invested in the...
I mean, maybe they resonate with the fact that Ethan is like a much more normal person. Well, much more normal person than most of the Hassan sphere. I mean, he's like a 30-something, or I think he's 40 now. He's like a 40-year-old dude that's married. I think that's like something that people might resonate with, you know? Like, oh, he's a 40-year-old married dude. Like, I respect that. Hey, that's cool, you know?
The show after seeing all the flack they were getting. I still don't watch a majority of their content, but I do stay up to date with everything involving...
It does sound like she's like anti-Hassan, which is fun. I think Hassan's a bad person, but you gotta be a little careful with that, because people are just gonna brush it off as like, oh, you just don't like Hassan. You know, that's why you don't like any of his talking points.
Hassan and iDubbbz and Anissa and Denims and
or maybe she's anti-Anissa. My queen! Just kidding.
The latest, greatest drama regarding this whole thing, Madison Harnish, aka Mother to Researcher of Cruel World Happy Mind.
Fucking Mother to Researcher is funny, though. Come on.
Which is why I'm even talking about Chris Kunzler to begin with. To summarize, Chris Kunzler is actually really boring, and I couldn't make it through a single 3-hour video that he has. It was just boring. But Chris's obsession with Ethan Klein helps illustrate the bigger question. Since October 7th, why has everyone turned on Ethan Klein?
Maybe you should, before making a video, that you should understand this, but of course you don't.
It's hard to look at the situation and how outspoken Ethan has been about Israel and its actions in Gaza.
Once again, this is a guy who posted detracting from the Gaza famine.
And
what did he post that was detracting from the Gaza famine? I'm a little confused about that. What did he say that was detracting from the Gaza famine?
Think that Ethan being Jewish just has nothing to do with it. The problem with creators like Chris Kunzler isn't that he's pro-Palestine, it's that he dodges...
You implied that I was Hitler.
Ethan and Hila's beliefs...
That is true. She did imply that.
...about Israel and Netanyahu.
No. This is the funny thing.
Ethan and Hila's Palestine, it's that he dodges...
You implied that I was Hitler.
Ethan and Hila's beliefs about Israel and Netanyahu.
No. This is the funny thing. Each and every one of you dodges my beliefs and my discussion of Palestine because you don't want to confront it.
And says the most
Well, I think that, I mean, listen, I don't watch enough Chris Kunzler to know. He seems to be pretty, and maybe I'm wrong, he seems to be pretty open about how he doesn't think Israel has the right to exist. I would say, if anything, Hassan is the one dodging his actual... Like, the problem with is that if Hassan, like, he'll dog whistle it a little bit. but he won't explicitly say Israel should not exist unless he's updated the way that he's been pushing out his rhetoric lately. So Hassan, if Hassan would just say, I don't think Israel has a right to exist, now we know where we stand. Ethan does. He just thinks the government's bad. Chris doesn't think Israel has a right to exist at all. I don't think that's even really, frankly, a conversation worth engaging with, but like, whatever. But Hassan like pretends to. He'll say something like, when you say like, oh, do you think Israel has a right to exist? He says, well, not in this way, right? And the way he would do it is he would make it just be Palestine and have like everybody live in one happy place where there would be a tremendous amounts of tension and it would never work. Not in today's time, you know? So, I mean, maybe I don't know. I'm trying to sound like, I'm just trying to run around in my head. Like, I don't know. What I'm saying is like, I think that Chris acknowledging Ethan thinking that Israel has a right to exist to him just means he's a Zionist, because he doesn't think that should happen at all, is the point that I'm trying to get to. I know I'm like all over the place with what I'm saying. I'm like having a hard time articulating myself, but I think that's the point. That's literally just the point that I'm trying to make here.
Outrageous baloney that slides right into anti-Semitism like butter. That's why
I love how also these people treat, like, they say like, oh, you know, they act as if like anti-Semitism is simultaneously this really significant thing that they're upset about, but then also they don't care about me apparently, which is just really interesting, because part of the reason that I don't like Ethan Klein and Hila Klein is because they have consistently done and said things that are harmful to Palestinians and to a very influenceable audience that they have told over and over again. We are being attacked by anti-Semites. Like, literally, people like...
Well, they were. I would say that level of... I think it's hard to say that there was no anti-Semitism when Hassan's going around waving a swastika sword. And you know that there's a reason he's doing it. He bought it because he thought it was a swastika. He thought it was funny. Right? Like, I think that if anything, maybe Chris, maybe he doesn't even realize that he's kind of aligned himself with somebody who's not a political person. Hassan is not a political person. Hassan is a slop drama person who pretends to be political, right? So,
like Hen Mazig glob onto this, like significant Israeli propagandists glob onto it.
I plan on continuing my deep dive into the underground internet holy war. I really hope you liked this.
This is funny calling it a deep dive, considering this was not a deep dive.
If you did, please like and subscribe to me. My last video, I am baffled. Like, when I posted...
Also, it's so amazing portraying Nick D'Oreo as the Pope, and we all know what he said.
That's like his meme, is him being the Pope. I forgot about that.
Got like 20 views.
What is it that he said? Like, what's the meme from? Is it a meme from something I'm not aware of? I thought it was just something stupid.
And I was so excited. And I was like, dude, I got 21 views, and I'm just like over the moon. And I was celebrating that.
21 pilots.
She makes girl with a microphone look like a genius.
What the fuck was that?
Drop a comment under that video. I dropped a comment and I said you can come and defend and talk about this thought-provoking video, but I don't think, somehow I don't think that that's going to happen. I said, why don't you come on my stream and talk about this thought-provoking video? But I'm being serious here. Like, how do you feel comfortable accusing people of being, like, anti-Semitic and saying...
Chris has defended the sword and said it's impossible. Hassan was dog whistling. Oh, well, that's just stupid to think it's impossible that Hassan was dog whistling. I just think that that's ignorant. Well, like, if any, like, the most charitable interpretation of that is that like Hassan was trying to antagonize Ethan. Like, if I was a Hassan cum guzzler, I'd be like, yeah, he shouldn't have used that sword. But I don't think he was trying to be anti-Jewish. I think he was just trying to antagonize Ethan. It's like, oh, okay.
You're so concerned by anti-Semitism and then go,
oh, he's Italian, so he's the Pope. Got it. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't care about you on the internet. It's amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff. It's like Ethan's thing of like, apparently I'm a good resource on Palestine, but simultaneously I platformed the Hitler of the modern era who reads the Elders of Zion. No, there's of course there's not a single source in here. The sources are debate with smug TikToker derails instantly, where me and Lonabox had a crater which devolved into a discussion about a crater which devolved into him removing me. But yeah, debate with smug TikToker derails instantly. Cruel happy world happy mind is a dumb as rocks. Lonabox.
That part is true. She is dumb. I think if Chris should acknowledge that he thought that whole conversation was mind numbing, because I think that that's the truth. That's an objective fact, guys.
It's literally just Lonabox. There's some other amazing commentary in the other one. We're not going to watch her whole video about Cruel World Happy Mind, but she says she just says things that, like, literally if you went on Wikipedia, you would be able to find
recent live stream with that Chris guy, and yeah, I watched the whole thing, unfortunately.
Looks like she watched it through Nicholas Diorio.
Were kind of in agreement that what Israel was doing is fucked up. And I guess the flood of comments that were saying that what I had said was anti-Semitic, that just completely disagreed with my stance. I was very confused on that, and just from a sort of morbid curiosity was reading comments and messages, wanting to understand that what their viewpoint was and how they had gotten to such a divide.
In the video, she says, I thought most people were kind of in agreement that what Israel was doing is messed up.
It's amazing as well, like sort of mocking Madison when you have time, like you had time to make this video and put thought into it. These slop tubers and their confidence is unbelievable.
I'm just gonna.
So true, King. Again, I think that there needs to be a little self-awareness that, like, when you are going to go to bat for Hassan that much, like, he is part of the slop tube sphere. Like, listen, Hassan's not stupid. Hassan's been doing this for a very long time. When he says provocative things on stream, they're not mistakes, right? That's the way that he decides. Like, that's his version of clip farming, is to say very provocative shit for attention. So
I'm gonna give you a small piece of advice, girly. When you are talking about a marginalized group of people that you do not belong to, and when they are trying to give you feedback on what is prejudice.
Oh, right. So we can't criticize Israel and pro-Israel YouTubers. Amazing.
Or racist towards them. You don't read the comments out of morbid curiosity. You read the comments because you are curious.
I don't read the comments at all, because it's cringe and dumb.
And willing to grow. Okay, all right. I don't want to sound like a fucking lame leftist, but I think that there's...
You are not at all a leftist, and the fact that you think that you are a leftist at all, when you don't have any basic understanding of what is...
I'm a rightist, because that's where it leans, boy.
...going on in the world, and your sources are loner box. You are not a leftist. You are a pro-Israel racist.
Here, again, Madison seems unsure of what point she's even trying to make. I've been to the Middle East as well, and yes, as a woman... Israel can feel a much safer place to be than anywhere else.
I don't know if I believe that this person was actually in the Middle East, but maybe.
This person has been to Israel, like, oh, God, grotesque, and just wants to talk like this. Bro, you went to the apartheid state. Oh. So once again, just this whole clique of people who are terrified to hide their fate.
Clique? What the fuck?
Also,
that is kind of valid, though. What the fuck, dude?
Just wanted to note
Fuck
something.
off.
Benjamin Netanyahu is posting drop site news right now. He posted he's posting Jacobin magazine. Jeffrey Epstein claims to have meddled in Israel's elections. Amazing things are happening right now.
In the Middle East. That's not even up for debate. Because you can hold two things at once, Madison. It's not hard. Not only is it not hard, it's essential.
Me, personally, I only can hold one thing at a time. And that's a good conversation.
If you're going to be an unbiased commentator. So you can
W's in the chat if you think I'm funny, please.
hold. Israel isn't...
Everyone is biased. Everyone is biased.
Not me, bro. I'm not biased, and if I am, it's against the place you're supposed to be biased towards.
Like, you've got to realize, Lonerbox, your hero, is biased in favor of child killing. That's why
I don't think that Lonerbox is in favor of child killing, but okay, that's a little fucking crazy. But brother man,
a great conversation, and I cannot reiterate this enough, with Yishai Fleischer. Yishai Fleischer is a key figure in the settler movement. They were good friends. They had a great time together.
Many ways, more inclusive.
Oh yeah, well if you're pro-abortion, you're okay with child killing too. So how do you contend with that, Christopher? Oh, I got him, dude! I fucking I debate owned him. I'm a debater.
For women, LGBTQ+.
I'm a debate pervert.
People, too. Israel has also carried out horrific actions against the civilians in Gaza and the West Bank. Those two things are true. It's baffling.
Yes, but it's impossible. Like, it is impossible to talk about Israel and be like,
yeah,
it does horrific things against civilians, but actually it's nice to gay people, nice to women and marginalized community, because who do you think civilians are? Like, that is premised on attempts to exterminate and destroy an ethnic group.
Well, yeah, so the idea is like, hey, they are better, for their own people, the morals in Israel are better. But then they otherize and dehumanize other groups of people that they don't consider Israeli. So it's like, yeah, they might have better values in their country for their own people. But, you know, is it really that good if you're genociding other people? That's the argument, which I get it. I totally understand it. My thing is if you put a Disney in Gaza, maybe I'd care. I'm just joking. I'm so sorry.
That she can't hold these two things at the same time. And the inability to understand complexity seriously weakens her credibility.
My fellas.
The biggest issue I have with their statements is...
It's so funny because, like, I feel like that's silly, right? Like, I just think it's silly a little bit because I don't think that this person here... And I don't think that I'm super intelligent or nuanced either. Well, I think it seems like they haven't really even put in any effort into, like, you know, into acknowledging who the fuck Chris was or any of his content. And then she made this hit piece on him. And then now in this other video, she's like, oh, you know, you should be more nuanced than that, or more intelligent in the way you talk. And it's like, come on, man. Like, there's a little lack of self-awareness there, you know? You didn't put like a insane amount of effort into even getting to know who the person that you're talking about is. You know, you're already getting locked into like if it's you know, the pro person community. Like, I'm pro Ethan, so I can say whatever I want about their tractors, you know?
Is that they continuously move the goalpost for Ethan and Hila because they lived in Israel. When there is dearth of instances of them disavowing the state of Israel for the actions of Gaza, more so than Madison has ever done as an
Well, they don't disavow the state of Israel. They disavow the Israeli government.
anti-MLM creator and probably has ever done in her life. But
Whoa.
I don't know, suddenly she
I'm
started
MLM.
watching Hassan Piker.
But also, there are a considerable amount.
I'm MLM. Mommies love mommies, dude. It's my number one search on the hub.
Of endorsements of pro-Israel rhetoric from both of these people.
And so now she thinks that if she...
I really don't, again, like, I don't know what he's referring to, because I don't call saying it's like Israel having the right to exist. I guess I wouldn't consider that like I guess it is a pro-Israel sentiment. But what I don't know. I feel like maybe we're just not clear about what we're talking about. I think it's okay to think that. So what does he mean when he says pro-Israel sentiment? Is he saying the pro-Israel, what Israel's doing to people in Gaza sentiment, or just pro sentiment of like Israel has the right to exist? Those are two different things to me.
She just repeats the dog talking points that he
Boom!
has. Going to be okay, that she's going to be fine. Like all the Hassan
She's right, though.
Glazers
His
will...
content's so boring. That's probably true. That's probably true. You got a good point, Alex of Fiction. You got a good point, brother.
Glaze her. All the Glazers will glaze her. All the Glazers will glaze her. To further prove my point, I've highlighted the following from her interview. I don't even know what it was, between her and Chris Glazer.
It's amazing though as well, like the level of supreme confidence.
I'm just very immature and I love it.
To think that I made a LinkedIn page to like make myself seem credible, to note that I have 2 degrees, and also, as she noted, have the ability to speak basic Farsi, but then to just base all of your opinions on hating Hassan. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Hassan being the basis of your politics is insane work.
Or whatever.
I agree. I will say that for Chris, though, I think he should be careful, because it sounds like he knows a lot more than just Hassan adjacent things. But like, people are you put yourself in like like, this is what happens in this atmosphere. Is like it becomes very like side versus side. I think if I think if Chris actually acknowledged what Hassan was as not a political person, but a political slop content creator, I think that he'd probably understand how unproductive it is to, you know, engage, I guess, the way he's engaging in like the Ethan Klein sphere. Like, I understand it gets more eyes on the target, and maybe that's his goal, but at the same time, I don't think that they're productive eyes of a bunch of people that are like, oh man, this is a real concern. I think that most people that engage in this don't care about what's going on in Gaza, regardless of what side it is on, in any meaningful capacity, you know? And I think that about Hassan and Ethan as well. Chris probably actually cares, you know? I think that when you see moments of like terrible things happening, you're like, this is horrible, but I don't think they really care. And the reason I don't think Hassan cares is I guarantee you, like, I think that if somebody, maybe, and Chris would probably disagree with this anyway, but I think if you really cared about what's going on in Gaza, you wouldn't have voted Trump, or you would have you would have been actively like, hey, you should vote for Kamala, even if she's not the best. You know, personally, do I think that she should have been more anti-Israel? Probably. She probably should have done something a little bit different. She didn't really capture the anti-establishment, anti-status quo thing. She played it safe. But I mean, it's a tough sell when you don't actively advocate for your people to vote for the person that would have been better. I genuinely think that she would have been better than Trump. Trump was making AI videos about how about like fucking clearing out Gaza and putting up hotels. I don't think it gets any worse than that, to be honest with you. I remember him even saying something about genociding, and genocide in the sense of remove like putting Palestinian people in another place. The fact that you'd even consider that is fucking insane to me. So it's like, is that really the person? Do we really think that was the person that was going to lead the charge here? I don't think so, especially since Trump at that point was leaning very heavily into like very pro-Israeli sentiment. You know, we even got to the point where like there was like a Israeli propaganda tour, like publicly. He's like, I remember him like, Netanyahu was like, yeah, I'm going to hire people. I'm going to pay them to come guzzle my cum. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't think that would have happened under Harris. I don't think it would have been perfect either. Unless your argument is you think it needs to get much worse before it gets better. I don't know. But I also don't think that you guys had the optics play to be like, oh, you know what? If Trump gets elected and he pushes too far in the support of Israel, that's actually going to cause a fracture in MAGA because of all the anti-Semitism that's been kind of sitting inside of MAGA. I don't think that you guys anticipated that. I didn't. But, you know, maybe I'm just fucking stupid. Who knows?
His name is.
It seems like there's a
The fart of the deal, baby.
great fear there of something happening within their lifetimes that mirrors that experience. And so
Mirror's Edge.
that is what my impression was talking with them about this is that there's this great fear of this happening again. And so they're so afraid of it sort of this reoccurrence that that's all they can.
Bro, listening to her ramble it blew my mind. There's no way that Chris was like, this was a great conversation.
See is within the Palestinians is that somehow they're going to wipe out Israel, that somehow Iran is going to wipe out Israel. When
it's also amazing that like people think Madison framed herself, and this is how like deranged and misogynistic these pieces of shit are.
I love misogyny, baby. I love massages. You know, that's my favorite thing.
They think that Madison came on framing herself as like an expert in Palestine. No,
she did. Like, come on, she kind of did. She came in and she had like a profound lack of self-awareness in the way that she communicated herself. And I think it's impossible to contest. This is the person in her first video that said she had no idea what was going on, despite the fact that it was 2 years since the topic started. And frankly, I think it's fine to not care. You know, maybe not that care. It's not fun to not care. I think it's fine to like not give too much, like, you know, put too much energy into it. I get it. Like, I think it's fine. You don't want to engage in like world politics. I think it's fine. But then to sit here and like lecture people as if you know what the fuck you're talking about, that is what the community, that is what people are getting out of that when you communicate yourself like that. So like she did come on as in that way of trying to like, you know, parade herself around as somebody who, you know, even if it wasn't explicit, somebody who knows more than she actually does. Self-awareness would have dictated that she shouldn't be talking about it the way with so much confidence. You know, but all of a sudden she became an expert in 2 fucking days. No, she didn't.
No, I was like, hey, there have been like some things I've seen and I'd like to talk to you about Palestine. She didn't come on and act as if she was like #1 expert in Palestine. It's just not true. But they want to frame it as that because they never want to confront people who have actually researched it and would rather be like, haha, look at this woman.
Well, she didn't research it though. She admitted, and maybe he doesn't, that's the problem. Maybe he doesn't even know that she just like admitted she had no idea what the fuck she's talking about.
Own her, we dunk on her, because their views are literally just pure, unadulterated slop after slop after slop after slop.
It's a level of truth to that as well, though. I don't think that they're wrong on that, but like, yeah, a lot of people are engaging in a slop capacity, but they were right about that talking point because I said so, and I'm the smartest guy ever.
It can't even reflect that they are doing that in the
100%.
same breath.
The most racist,
100%, guys.
The most racist Israeli politician is the person who popularized the slogan "Never Again."
Well, maybe, but I think that the Jews have had a rough history, so I think saying never again, that person might have been racist saying it, but I understand where the sentiment comes from. You know, Jews have been treated a little bit poorly throughout history. Just gonna be honest with you guys. I think that's fair to acknowledge.
This is why it's problematic. This line suggests that Jewish fears of persecution or genocide have turned into collective blindness or hypocrisy, which is...
I genuinely do think that there is like a level of what the fuck is it called? Like trauma associated with being Jewish because of how like oppressed they've been historically. You know, and I think that some people have the ability to take that and weaponize it and to justify treating different groups of people worse. And I think that that's what Netanyahu is doing for sure. You know, but I mean, I wouldn't take away from it. Historically, Jews have been treated horrifically. So I think I think if you don't acknowledge that, I mean, you can't have a conversation about it that's productive if we don't acknowledge that. I think. I mean, you know what I mean? You don't use it as a justifier to say, like, oh, that's why everything they do is okay. But, like, not acknowledging that. I mean, if you can't acknowledge that, then you can't acknowledge the root of the behavior in the first place. And if you can't acknowledge the root of the behavior, I don't think that you're going to ever have, like, a productive conversation about it. Or maybe you don't want to have a productive conversation about it. You know? It can be very difficult to have productive conversation about anything while they're happening. So that's another, that's another little bit of a, we'll say, issue.
How is this racist? There are plenty of people who've talked about this. Boaz Evron, an Israeli Jew who was also a Zionist, spoke about this in the 1980s, about a genuine fear about the racism emerging in Israeli society. Also, Tom Segev, the Israeli historian, many Jewish figures in the diaspora, like Jewish figures all over the world have spoken about this kind of stuff.
Bananas, because we wouldn't accuse any...
Sorry, the bleeping blew my mind.
Any other group of people. If this was a group of Rwandans, okay, let's say this is all happening in Rwanda, we wouldn't be like, all...
What the fuck is happening?
Black people, not just...
This is an amazing jump.
I have no idea what point she's trying to make.
Are all black people...
Maybe I have to watch the full video.
...from Rwanda? Does Rwanda claim to be the state of all black people? And by the way, I'm not an expert in the Rwanda...
Frankly, I don't think black people is a religion either. But then again, Jewish people are an ethnicity and a religion, so.
And genocide. But there is definitely stuff to say about like where the ethnic tensions came from, in part to do with colonial regimes that had been there.
For one, is but black people living in the diaspora, especially in like in North America, and imagine saying that like they all are just constantly
Dude, the fucking beeping is hurting my eyes.
constantly hallucinating victimhood.
Also, that's not what was said about all Jewish people. We're talking about Ethan Klein, someone who has literally openly issued an apology about the fact and his statements and his behavior about Palestine. Like,
see, that's like such a dishonest framing, though, because like that is true, but that's such a blanket term. Yeah, he's apologized for his statements about Palestine. Yeah, that's true, in the way of him sounding insensitive, right? But when you say it so blanketly, you could apply it to anything. And if you're going to go on and always talk about how Ethan supports the Israel. With the dog whistle that they report that he supports what Netanyahu's doing, then it sounds like what you're saying is Ethan is apologist for supporting Netanyahu, and I don't think that that's the case. I think Ethan is obviously going to have a pro-Israel bias because he used to live there in Tel Aviv, which I believe is like the most liberal like city in there, and he thinks that the people are okay, and like that's his point there, right? But I think that it just gets it's the moments like that where it feels like, okay, is this intentional? Is this dumb or dishonest? It just sounds like we haven't established the actual correct framing of Ethan before saying it's wrong in this instance.
he had to issue an apology about saying he wanted to go to Israel. And even then, he didn't confront. He was like, oh, I shouldn't have spoken about Israel with such levity during a genocide. But Ethan said that he was
I guess I just owned myself.
going to film it to show everyone that leftists lied about Palestine. And yeah, the black diaspora of people from Rwanda.
I guess I kind of just owned myself there. I should just let him finish.
Also hypocrites, and also just like
But yeah, he was apologetic for the timing of that statement. You know what I mean? But there was like a lot of, again, there is a lot of anti-Israel statement or anti-Israeli citizens sentiment. Like I think Chris doesn't give a fuck about like Israeli citizens and thinks that they all like are effectively bad and that Israel should be gotten rid of. So I understand why Ethan said that, even if it was probably not optically the best time to say something like that personally.
hideous monster. This oversimplifies generational trauma and applies it to an
Do you think that she just asked AI, please tell me about Israel? Once again, I love this genre of people who want to make videos on the internet.
I asked ChatGPT about it.
About politics and accuse others of being Nazi anti-Semites but can't show their face. It is an amazing, amazing thing.
entire population. Never again originates from the Holocaust. Remembrance, right? And Jewish cultural memory, not solely from one politician.
That's not actually what I said. I said Mayor Kahana popularized the slogan. H3H3 has done some good. It led me to your channel as a Middle Eastern person living in the UK. I really enjoy your videos. Also, this Mantis, Jesus. Thanks for the €5, Poop Sanchez. But yeah, as I said, like with Isaac.
Okay, Poop Sanchez. Incredible.
And stuff. Like, I wouldn't have met Isaac were it not for this. And I think that, using
I guess Ethan's a good guy.
this as an educational opportunity is great. And this is a great way of, I don't want to talk about just general slop, but someone making a slop video about me where they...
I think one of the reasons why people don't acknowledge like the historical oppression argument or the generational trauma argument for Jewish people is because right now, like, Jewish people are doing very well. Like, Israel, the state of Israel is a powerful state. It's financially very powerful. It has a lot of it has a good position in the Middle East. It's a foothold of Western society, so we are far too charitable to it. And so I guess it's hard for them to be like, I guess it's hard for them to see how like any of the racism or not racism, I don't know if that's see any charity for them because they're as a group, Israel's doing well. So they're like, oh yeah, people are just mean to you, but it means nothing, right? Because like racism is power plus plus privilege or whatever. I think that's part of the disconnect. But I think that we've seen multiple times what happens when we shit on Jewish people too much, and it's slavery and Holocaust, that those things have happened. It's not bad things happen to Jewish people. I don't think it's good for bad things to happen to Jewish people, guys. Hot take. Clap for me.
They have the audacity to call Madison Mother to research.
Oh, we have an idiot in here. Sorry, I just read the chat. Because I mentioned before that being Jewish is like an ethnicity and a religion, which is an objective fact. It's an undisputable fact. And this person's like, oh, so Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism are racist too? No, you're stupid. Sorry, you're just incredibly fucking dumb. Like, come on. There's an ethnic Judaism. There is an ethnicity of Jewish people. All right. One of those ethnicities is like Ashkenazi Jews. All right. I'm sorry that that's very difficult for you to understand, but, Give me a fucking break here, Jesus Christ.
Because Ethan Klein told them what to think, and the huge amount of like pro-Ethan influencers. Nick DeOrio, you claim yourself to be a leftist and love Nick DeOrio going on trips to Israel and hating on Hassan. That is like
He went to Israel, dude? Nick DeOrio?
the entirety of your life.
What the
But literally,
fuck?
if you have bothered to look at Wikipedia to check whether what I was saying was
What
true,
the hell?
and by the way, the slogan is believed to come from an epic poem. This is what I said before the Holocaust.
Sounds like a good poem.
Never again shall Masada fall. That's where the slogan actually comes from. But it was popularized by Meir Kahane, the most racist Israeli figure in its history. Tom Segev, an Israeli Jewish person, in his book about Holocaust memory, talks and calls Menachem Begin, Israeli Likud prime minister in the 1970s, the great popularizer of the Holocaust. He used it to attack his opponents. He used to push his points forward. And also, he was the person who led a multitude of bloody assaults on the Palestinians and Lebanese people, particularly the first invasion of Lebanon in the 1980s. And also, by the way, the Jewish Defense League song included the passage, "To our slaughtered brethren and lonely widows, never again will our people's blood be shed by water. Never again will such things be heard in Judea." It's also really funny because Kahane wanted to rename Israel to Judea. It's to do with like a Davidic lineage and the fact of like it being like an attempt to return to the kingdom of Judea rather than the kingdom of Israel, because it's more like, I can't remember the exact biblical justification. After Kahane's death in 1990, Sholom Kamei, president of the American Jewish Committee, the AJC, despite our considerable differences, Meir Kahane must always be remembered for the slogan, "Never Again," which for so many people has become a battle cry of the post-Holocaust Jewry. These are the words of a significant Jewish American on the death of Meir Kahane, someone he totally agreed with. The fact that you have the audacity to come up and say this kind of stuff when you don't know anything about this is insane. Also, yes, this is just like a Loner Box Destiny viewer. They often talk about this
What? Destiny? What the hell? That guy's bad.
kind of stuff, and they would talk to me about difficulties. They would actually talk to me about how they had stopped going to synagogue because in the UK, if you go to a synagogue, they say, right, we're first going to give to and explain to you about a charity that's from the UK, and then almost every single synagogue tells you, actually, you're going to then talk to us about a charity that is in Israel.
So again, we see this Chris Kunzler go on about his overgeneralization of because he talked to one person who might have been, in quotes, a Jewish individual, unquote.
You are genuinely insane. You are genuinely an insane person.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there's a lot going on. Like the chief rabbi in the UK, Ephraim Mervis, is saying that Israel's actions in Gaza are not a genocide. He talks regularly. I've seen him praise Israeli soldiers. The idea that there wouldn't be Jewish people who had trouble engaging with this and also confronting being pro-Palestine is ridiculous, especially someone like Ethan. Ethan regularly says there's a genocide in Gaza, so surely he would be incensed by the chief rabbi of the UK, say if he lived in the UK, saying, oh, no, that it's not a genocide, it's not, and praising Israeli soldiers.
Who went to a synagogue and they wanted to talk about a charity in the UK and then they wanted to talk about a charity in Israel. He is definitely playing into this trope and trying to find some semblance of a source to reinforce that all Jewish organizations, all Jewish people in the diaspora are inherently financially tied to the state of Israel.
Amazing. Like, genuinely amazing. The level of leaping, the audacity to think that you know anything about this, and to call Madison Mother Teresa when you...
That's funny. You guys think that she does Rule 34 for this fucking PFP, dude? That's fucking crazy.
Actually know nothing and think that you have the ability to make a video calling me a Nazi and saying that I'm engaging with Nazi tropes because I mentioned the Jewish charity, this thing about synagogues in the UK.
Well, I mean, I think that, I don't know that that's like an actual established thing that all synagogues in the UK do that. It seems like it was something that your friend told you and that you took it as like an absolute fact, and that it's like a widespread thing. I mean, maybe it is, but I don't know that it's a widespread thing that every synagogue in Europe is, or Britain, whatever, who cares? It's fucking, what is that? Fucking, pizza chippies, whatever they call them, land. I don't think that that's an established fact there, but I guess I wouldn't doubt it.
Believable.
This is a huge dog whistle that Nick Fuentes...
You don't know what a dog whistle is. I regularly speak out against people with genuinely anti-Semitic views.
Well, but the problem that you have with that is that you also, like, Ethan speaks out against people with anti-Palestinian views sometimes, right? But that doesn't make him, in your argument, that doesn't make him pro-Palestinian, right? So... yeah.
even likes to pull out every once in a while. So good job, Chris. Now, I was going to go on because I had...
Go on, explain how what I said was similar to Nick Fuentes. This is someone's post who got in trouble for...
Nick Fuentes.
Calling him Rabbi Genocide. Listen to this. On October 12th, 2023, Rabbi Mervis offered a prayer asking God to grant strength to the IOF. This prayer came at a time... when the IOF had already launched operations in Gaza, not ground operations, resulting in the deaths of many Palestinian civilians, no disclaimers were made. Mervis expressed pride in the Israeli military. Like, I'm sorry, like, acting as if this is an insane anti-Semitic thing to say. Never once did I actually say that all Jewish people believe this. Amazing, incredible. But when your world is just defined by slop.
Many more clips from this fucking whatever.
Yeah, this person kind of gave Chris an easy dunk, honestly.
The fuck that was with Chris Cumglaz and the Mother to researcher. But I've decided that I'm not going to, because it's tiresome and you can look into it yourself. I've laid down some groundwork for you. Anyways, I was really thinking about making this into a multi-part series about this internet underground holy war.
I think it's called Undertale.
If you're interested in seeing that, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're not, please leave me a comment, a strongly worded comment about your thoughts, feelings, and opinions about how you don't actually think any of this is anti-Semitic, because what Israel is doing is wrong. Because that makes...
I also love this AI video. So apparently I'm anti-Semitic. You come up on stream and explain to me how I'm anti-Semitic. I would love the opportunity for you to come up and explain to me how I'm anti-Semitic and show your amazing levels of research. I would love to hear this. I would genuinely love to hear it.
I hope to never see you again. Hopefully she'll apologize.
Madison shouldn't apologize because it's so evident that rabid fucks like you know nothing about this. Like,
she shouldn't apologize, dude. She's on the wrong. That's not the side. You don't apologize, dude. She's on the right side, even if she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Madison's on the right side.
Absolutely nothing.
It's my friend now.
About Palestine. Zionists love to say it was just one random guy saying that, and it's someone in their Knesset. Yeah, someone in their Knesset, someone at the peak of Israeli government or in the wings of Israeli power, and they love to tell you, no, it's just a random guy. Israel.
Well, she was saying, I think that she was just saying the random guy specifically for the friend that you were talking about, but.
Israel's defense minister openly talks about his desire to kill Palestinians. Also, it's actually amazing, like looking at the comments. Honestly, best video on her so far. I couldn't get through 5 minutes in videos about her, but you managed to make fun of her without making the viewers suffer her annoying stupidity. Chris Kunzler, such is anti-Semitic person who uses conflict to hide this bigotry.
Okay.
Amazing commentary in the YouTube comments. This video is so good, mad funny, and elucidates on a lot that's out in the open, but folks just don't care to think critically about this stuff. Love the AI art. That was insanely creative. It's AI. You are an idiot. Shout out to all the Mormon mommies.
I love all the work you did on the AI art, guys. My favorite thing.
And Chris Cumglaz. Keep it up. They don't even know about the 6-day war when everybody attacked Israel and tried to wipe them out. They think October the 7th was the first ever attack. Yeah, I'm sure that this person is a core researcher of the 6-day war. Nice job with this coverage. Oh, wow, this is a fantastic first video. Where's the one about her meeting Lonabox? Which is just an incredible world to live in where you've met Lonabox. Where do you even meet Lonabox? But he has a master's degree and a lot of experience. He has a master's degree and he has round spectacles, a master's in bigotry. That's a bar. I watched your video about Cruel Wild Happy Mind. It was fantastic. This guy's legendary. Palestine, a smouldering wreck. Look, Patrick, we saved the city. S tier. What is she talking about? You're telling me harassing random Jews in the US doesn't help solve a centuries-old conflict? Genuinely, this is just the work of people who are very, very, very stupid.
Interesting video, I guess. We always love the slop. It's the best slop around, guys.
You are
the best slop around, baby. Best slop around.